welcome to Gardening with Gutner. I'm your host, Todd Gutner. It's the quiet time of year, the days are short, and you're wearing your parka or your puffy vest. Don't let that kill your green thumb, though. We've got some ideas to get you through until you can dig in the dirt. And speaking of dirt, did you know you can start seedlings outside in a foot of snow? I know, I was surprised at that too. Well, Allison Valen-Kostovic, author of Garden Maker's Book of Wonders, shows us all you need is a milk jug. Hi there, folks. Bet you didn't expect to see me in the middle of the month of February, but we're at Allison Valen-Kostovic's Finch and Folly Garden in New Gloucester, and the last time I was sitting here, I was drinking lemonade and eating cookies, and it was delicious. Let's go see what Allison's up to in the middle of the winter. Hey there, Allison.
Hi, Todd. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Very good.
Good to see you, too. A little chilly out here.
A little chilly. Warm by the fire,
Thank you
though.
very much.
You're welcome.
That makes a huge difference. What are we up to today?
We are dreaming green.
Dreaming green.
Yes,
There's white all around us, but we're going to dream green.
We have to, especially come this time of year. We're doing a little winter sowing in milk jugs.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Yeah, very easy to do. You
Okay.
sow your seeds in a milk jug, and you're going to forget about them till late spring when you're going to be greeted with some beautiful seedlings.
I love it. Let's get started.
Come on.
Looks like you got some big milk drinkers in your house, Allison.
I do. I have two boys that keep me in a lot of milk jugs.
So why are we gardening in the middle of the winter?
I am very happy that you asked, because February is a perfect time to do your winter sowing.
Okay, and this is a nice little project for that.
It is perfect. You're going to make your own little greenhouse out of milk jugs.
So you need a jug, obviously.
You
right?
need a jug and just a little bit of equipment.
Okay.
Easy to start off, so take your jug.
Yeah.
And the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use an X-Acto knife or a scissor.
Yeah.
And you're going to cut right at the base
Yep.
of the handle here and go all the way around, but you want to leave the handle connected.
Okay.
The next thing that you want to make sure you do is add adequate drainage holes.
And then you pop some soil in.
Now it's time to fill it up. This is moistened with a little bit of water. And we don't use seed starting soil for this. We use potting soil because these seeds are going to germinate and start to grow in this. So this has a little bit of nutrition for them.
Okay, so I'll fill this up with soil. You can talk about the seeds we're going to use.
Yes, you can. Seeds are very important. Now, winter sowing doesn't work for all seeds. Especially your warm weather seeds, not candidates for that.
So tomatoes, not going to work?
No, they would not be happy at all in these conditions.
Okay.
There are a lot of seeds that need stratification, which is an exposure of cold, in order to break their dormancy, and that's way they can start to germinate. So seeds like your self-sowing annuals, your larkspur, your nigella, your perennials. You can even do some vegetables like lettuces, spinach, and your brassicas.
Great. What do we use? What are we going to use right now?
But these are called nicotiana.
Okay.
And what you're going to want to do before you sow them is just make sure that the soil is nice there. Now the nicotiana need light in order to germinate.
Okay.
So we're just going to sprinkle them lightly on top.
Now, if they needed darkness to germinate, you would...
We're just going to take a little soil
and then spread
we
it
will
on
cover
top.
it. Yep.
Okay.
And depending on the thickness of the seed, if it's a bigger seed, you add more soil.
I see.
Tiny little seed, little bit of soil. But then, even though they need the light, we're just going to want to pat them in so that they don't get displaced.
Okay. Got it.
So now that they're there, all you have to do is duct tape it up.
Seal it up.
Okay.
There we go. There's one
Now,
side.
sometimes it helps when you duct tape inside in a bit warmer temperature.
Right.
And the duct tape will adhere better.
It'll stick better. It's about 25 degrees though here right now, so it's not sticking that well, but we know what we're trying to do here.
Now, once you have this all duct taped up, the biggest thing to do is to label it. That
Don't be
way
surprised
you know
in April, right?
what you're growing. Now, this is something I always forget to do, so I'm very proud that I'm remembering that today.
I am too.
And then just add your date.
Cool.
And now she's ready to go.
So where would we put this outside?
You want to place this in a sunny, protected spot that's a little sheltered. And ideally, if you can, put it on top of milk crates or on top of something with a little ventilation.
Got it.
But I've also put them right in the snow, and they've done equally well.
Nice. Allison, how's the book going?
Oh, it's been going so great. My favorite part is it's in libraries all across the country.
Oh, fun.
So I'm very proud of that.
Oh, that's great. So this is your little spot for your greenhouses.
We are in a sunny, sheltered location. It is perfect for these to grow now.
How long before we start to see little green shoots?
Probably going to be late April until early May when you'll start to see the little sprouts.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy we came out here in February. Thanks for showing us all about this. This is great.
Well, I'm so glad that you came on out.
Thank you.
But you can't leave quite yet.
Oh.
No, I got a little winter warmer for you.
I like winter warmers.
Come on.
Okay. Well, Allison, we'll have to catch up when the garden season really is in full swing, you know, in a few months. I love coming out here to see what you're up to.
I love having you.
Thanks again. And hey, keep your growing going. Apparently even in the month of February on Gardening with Gutner.
Cheers.
You can find Allison on Instagram under Finch and Folly. Her garden shows how she embraces organic gardening and nature-based living. Well, now we're going to exchange that milk jug for a glass jar. In Portland, there's a place where you can create another world in a jar. It's called Terrarium, and there you can have a glass of wine while you create an enclosed ecosystem. Rob guides us through the process. So this is Terrarium. It's a tropical oasis in downtown Portland where you can create your own plant world in a jar.
A terrarium is an enclosed ecosystem that contains all of your soils, rocks, plants, and even insects inside of it.
I did not think that one was coming.
Yeah, lots of little fun insects are in there as well.
And you've got a ton on this wall right here, right?
This is my wall of inspiration. We do a lot of build your own terrarium here at the shop, and so I try to tell people to take a look over here to help them construct some ideas out of the terrariums that I have built for myself.
Well, I've gotten a little inspired by this, but I still need you to show me how to make one.
Absolutely. So today we'll be turning this bubble bowl vase into a bioactive terrarium.
What's bioactive?
Bioactive is the inclusion of insects into our terrarium build. The first step we're going to do today is we're going to be creating a false bottom to the terrarium. Today we'll be using this small gravel. The purpose of the false bottom to the terrarium is to ensure airflow to the root system as well as collect any water in case of overwatering the terrarium. The next step we'll be doing will be adding the soil, and you can go ahead and just start shoveling the soil straight in there.
All right, just scoop
after scoop. The goal is
to
fill this jar a third of the way full with our small rocks and soil. This is my leaf litter, and this goes back into our bioactive conversation we had earlier. Leaf litter to the isopods and springtails we'll be adding to this terrarium build. This is their everything. And we'll be crushing up the leaf litter and thoroughly covering the surface of the soil.
So now you're putting some hardscape in here?
And I'm using this piece of cork bark. One, it's very dynamic. It's adding really interesting...
Is this the cork bark too?
Yep, this is the cork bark too. It's adding really interesting depth to it, but it's also creating a nice habitat for my isopod friends to move into. Now we're gonna start placing some larger plants into our terrarium. This is a Clathia. This is Clathia burl marks right here. This is a chunk of it off of a larger plant that I have divided earlier, and I'm going to divide it further. And I'm going to find a nice little spot to place into my terrarium. These are 3 little parlor palms here. We're going to add these right into the back of the terrarium build as well.
Oh, you have a little bonsai that we're going to put
bonsai tree we're going to stick in there. This is a ginseng ficus. And it's going to look really neat next to this tree over here, so we're going to kind of make it a focal point to our terrarium.
Now talk a little bit about your shop here. I mean, it's not just, you know, making terrariums, but it's kind of a social place too, right?
So in addition to build your own terrarium, we also have a large variety of houseplants that are for sale. As well as we have beer and wine and snacks. We do run a happy hour during the weekday. So now I'm going to come through with my mosses, and I'm going to start placing my mosses into my environment to help finish up my build on my design. So this is Leucobrium glaucum. This is a native Maine moss. I place my mosses down towards the front of my terrarium. It creates a nice negative space environment for the front of the terrarium while creating that sense of escapism. Now we're going to go through and get to the
creepy crawlies.
Springtails eat mold. So the addition of the insects to the terrarium is not for the benefit of the plants, it's for the benefit of the terrarium. We pipe at them right up, And we come right in and we blast them right into
Boom.
the terrarium. These are what is known as isopods.
An isopod, huh?
Yeah, or the classic roly-poly.
Roly-poly.
So once we have them over our opening, I just tap lightly.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. And
Look at them scurry in there, huh?
so the final step, placing the lid right on the terrarium. Now that it's built and completed, it's been watered, we don't have to do anything to this terrarium for months.
And onto the wall of inspiration it goes.
It's a keeper.
It is a keeper. Rob, thanks so much for showing us about terrariums. Hey folks, get down to Terrarium in downtown Portland, have a beer, make a plant garden, you'll have a blast. You can go to our New Center Maine YouTube channel, you can watch all the Gardening with Gutners there, and get your growing going on Gardening with Gutner. It was a really cool experience to build that terrarium, and surprisingly, really creative too. Need some flowers to liven up your gray winter day? You can force spring to come a little early by forcing bulbs and flowering branches. A flowering container of paper whites or branches of pussy willows will brighten your home up. Floral designer Eric Anthony at Harmon's Flowers showed us how we can trick spring. It's the middle of the winter. Today happens to be nice, but you know we've been hit by snow, sleet, cold, all of that. It's been pretty drab around here. We're outside of Harmon's Floral Company in downtown Portland. Let's see if they can brighten up our lives a little bit. Eric Anthony is the floral designer. You've got some suggestions, quite a few of them, to kind of bring a little life and color into the world right now.
I do.
What do you want to start with?
Let's do spring.
Okay.
Okay, a good way to start on that is forcing bulbs. And what we've started here with is tumbled stones.
Yeah.
And you could actually do gravel or marbles as well. When you put the bulbs in, you kind of nestle them like this.
Okay.
And I'm gonna let Todd help with that.
All right, I'll try. It's actually pretty easy, right? You just lay them right there.
And one of the important things to remember is you don't want the base of the bulb in water because you can rot the bulb.
Okay.
The base of the bulb will find the water as long as it's on top of the pebbles.
Got it.
And you can also start them off in marbles or in a lower container. One of the reasons we do the cylinder is to support the rather tall flowers, which you'll see that they can get, and sometimes taller.
This is a paperwhite, right?
That is a paperwhite.
Okay, and that's what would grow here.
And that's what would grow there.
This sort of would support it if it were to lean either way,
That's
right?
correct, that's correct. You can also grow these bulbs in soil if you don't want to grow them in pebbles or marbles. And you can also force a number of other bulbs. You could do tulips, hyacinths, daffodils, muscari, all of that kind of stuff, which is a wonderful way to bring spring in early too.
Absolutely. After it blooms, do you do anything with the bulb? Can you do anything with the bulb? Is it salvageable?
These are growing, they're not going to make it through a Maine winter, let's put it that way.
Okay.
So most people just discard them.
You have another suggestion which might just be on your property, right?
That's correct. We've got flowering branches here. Most people are familiar with pussy willow here. And then there's forsythia.
Sure.
Beautiful shrub. It's gorgeous yellow. It's all over Portland and South Portland and environs.
There's one lonely little
One
blossom
tiny
right there. Do you
flower
see
coming
that,
out.
folks? Little color, little yellow, little spring in the air.
And you can cut those at any time. Keep some water in there, at least 4 to 6 inches. Put some water or flower food and water clarifier in there.
Okay.
And that'll keep them going. A lot of times they'll even root in there and you can plant them
No
out in your
kidding.
yard.
You can get the branches to root too.
That's right.
Wow, that's amazing. And there's other, flowering plants and
there's other
branches
flowering
and
shrubs,
trees and all
too.
that. A lot of
Yeah.
fruit trees, right?
A lot of fruit trees, apple, plum, prune, cherry, quince. Just forego apple because the petals drop almost immediately. Not worth doing. You'll thwart your spring experience. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, you want
So
to
keep it going,
extend
keep
it
it
as long as
happy.
you can.
And the nice thing about all of this, it's so easy. It's so easy to bring spring in and just get things going early. And then you get to do it all over again when it comes out outside.
Exactly. A couple of months, fingers crossed.
That's right.
Later, a couple of
That's
months
right.
that
That's exactly right.
spring
Yeah.
arrives eventually. Well, Eric, thanks so much for these suggestions. Certainly going to bring
You're
this
most
into our
welcome.
home, and I hope you folks do it as well. And keep your growing going through the entire winter with Gardening with Gutner. We'll see you again next time. Finally, we find our zen. Bonsai is an ancient art form that involves shaping miniature trees into containers. They're beautiful pieces of art, but don't be intimidated because we learned it's a lot easier to create bonsai than you think. I am super excited about today's topic. We're covering bonsai trees. So cool. We're at Skillins. Here's Chris.
Hi.
Chris, first of all, am I pronouncing it correctly? I'm saying bonsai. Is that the proper way?
Well, you can say bonsai. It's really, you just combine the word bone and sai, so it's bonsai.
Bonsai.
Yep.
Bonsai.
Exactly.
Okay. How did you get interested in bonsai?
Well, I've been interested in horticulture for quite a while.
Yeah.
I've been working in the field for about 15 years now, and it's basically combining horticulture and art. We've had this one, I've probably been growing this one for roughly 6 years now. It's a Schefflera arbicola, or umbrella tree. I'm sure you've heard of those in the larger pots. They actually get quite large.
Sure.
Here's an example of a smaller version of that. This is about what we started with when we started this plant.
Wow.
This is probably about a year old in comparison. Most of them are subtropical or tropical varieties of plants.
Why
and
is that?
The reason for that is so it's easy to care for. A bit bigger.
What's this wire all about on this one?
So the wire is for training. What you can do is you take that wire, you wrap it around the stem carefully, and you can bend the stem and have it hold in that place. And usually, depending on the tree, between a few weeks and a few months, that stem will harden and you can take that wire right off and it'll keep the shape that you left it in.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Fun part about this one here also is it's a bay laurel, so it's edible.
Oh, it's Bailey.
Exactly.
You can put it in soups or whatever.
That's it.
All right, Chris, you're kind of hooking me on bonsai. Can you show me how to actually grow one?
Absolutely.
Well, Chris, the only thing I know about bonsai is from Mr. Miyagi and Daniel LaRusso, Karate Kid back in the 80s. They had bonsais going, they made it look easy. What would you do with this?
So the first thing we did was we picked our plant, we picked our pot, this is our pot here,
Yeah.
and you just got to try to envision what it's going to look like in the end.
Okay.
So in order to keep the plant in the pot, what we've done here is we've incorporated the wire. There's 2 holes in the bottom here, and we take this bonsai wire and we bend it up, eyeball it from the holes, bend it up in a U shape, put it right through. We have this plastic mesh right here which holds the substrate inside the pot. So once I have it at the level I'd like it to be at, which is right about there, I'm going to wire that right in. So I have the wires that we placed in earlier, and we're just going to come right over the root system here with one wire on one side, kind of just hand twist it on. If I'm happy with that, I'm just going to take my needle nose pliers here, snap off some of this wire that I don't need,
Right.
and then tighten that right back in there.
Got it.
If I had potting soil or I have the bonsai soil here, I'll just add some soil around to get kind of the base,
Going.
yeah, up and close to the top of the root ball. Now what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to take that wire that we had earlier and I'm going to wrap it right around this stem and have it.
We're going to make that sweep that you were
Exactly.
talking about. All right, this is interesting. How are we going to do this?
So roughly I just give it the same length as an 8 to 12 inch pot.
All right.
I'm going to take the wire, give it a little bit of a cup, and I'm going to start right on the stem here.
Okay.
Kind of loop it around the stem.
Yeah, hook it right in there.
And then I'm going to carefully go around without encompassing some of those branches. So once you have the wire on there pretty well, you can get a good start on it. You want to be very careful not to bend. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your thumb basically on each loop.
Yeah.
And you can bend each loop a little more. We're getting to the point where
Check it out, folks. See, it's coming together there.
it's starting to cascade
Yeah.
below the pot
Beautiful.
surface. And I love incorporating stones as
Yeah,
well.
me too.
Especially with junipers. So basically I'm just going to find a place to put the stones that I feel like it's going to look nice. So then I'll bring up some moss. I'm probably going to put the moss right around the base of the tree. What I like to do, even with the topsoil in there, or the potting mix, is just spray it down. Let it saturate with water. Is I'll just take a piece of screen or something, and I'll screen out some of that soil to get some of that softer portions out of there. So you have this nice granular top coat.
Pretty.
I'm just going to sprinkle it right in there, and then I'll mold it around afterwards. So I'm just going to do is come in through here and just patting down this
Yeah.
stone, cleaning off any debris. And what this also does is it kind of locks the stone in place.
Yeah.
So it holds it from
Like an
moving.
adhesive almost.
Exactly.
Let's take a look, folks. What do you think? Isn't that beautiful? That is amazing. And it was so easy.
So easy.
Chris, thank you so much for all of these bonsai tips. And maybe you want to, have a new gardening canvas. Try bonsai. It's a lot of fun, and it's kind of therapeutic too.
Very therapeutic.
Yeah, it is. All right, we'll see you next time on Gardening with Gutner. So don't let the cold temperatures kill your green thumb. There's plenty to create inside where it's warm and even outside in the cold. You can find us on Instagram under Gardening with Gutner to find out what we're up to. We're always posting reels of our shoots. Join us again here on New Center Maine Plus as we get your growing going with Gardening with Gutner.